Bloomberg News exposes eco-hypocrite billionaire Bill Gates' involvement to save Biden's climate bill. Gates reportedly didn't just start his secret efforts to influence Manchin and other U.S. legislators to adopt his radical utopian vision on climate. As Gates revealed to Bloomberg Green, he has quietly lobbied Manchin and other senators, starting with Biden, had won the White House in anticipation of a rare moment in which heavy federal spending might be secured for the clean energy transition. Bloomberg said when Manchin expressed hesitancy to supporting new climate spending, Gates reportedly saw a unique opportunity. He tapped into a relationship with Manchin that he'd cultivated for at least 3 years. We were able to talk even at a time when he felt people weren't listening. Gates reportedly told Bloomberg Biden signed the mammoth climate bill today thanks to Manchin's newfound support during a ceremony at the White House. There's a lot of people on the right that actually like Manchin. How do you read this article when you hear something like this?
I think Manchin was given an offer he couldn't refuse.
Wow, you going Godfather style. Got it. Interesting.
Well, and Manchin was just interviewed yesterday by a Fox reporter and said, you voted for this Inflation Reduction Act. When is it going to reduce inflation? And he said something along the lines of, well, it won't. It's not like turning on a switch. It's not going to reduce inflation. These people are well aware that this is a ridiculous title for this bill. I mean, you're pumping, $640 billion into the economy? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, when somebody does something, they make a 180-degree turnaround, and you don't have a good explanation, it's usually because of something that they don't want you to know.
And that's Manchin is who you're alluding to.
Yes.
Interesting.
But it's not unique to kind of put a nice little name like the CARES Act under Trump. Exactly, like the CARES Act. All right. And even the bill that was the HEALS Act, the HOPE Act. Every bill that becomes a law is giving a little marketable name to it, though. It's not unique.
Unfortunately, people of America have lost faith in our government because of things like that, because of the way COVID was handled, because of what happened in Afghanistan. I mean, there's just so many. Why would you have faith in the government anymore? And it's a severe problem, because if we don't get it back, pretty soon, we're doomed.
Dr. Carson, what does this say about the state of American democracy that one senator holds so much power in his hands? Essentially, that's what it's come down to.
Well, I guess the question is, how did it get to the point that we're so polarized that one person could have that kind of power?
So you don't think this is a failure in democracy or the way government functions? You think this is a polarization?
It's a polarization issue.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that America's polarized, and if you want to use the word tribal, but let's give a little respect to Joe Manchin for a second, because how many Democrats are getting elected in the reddest state in the union? I mean, here's someone.
Not a lot.
Exactly. So you pride yourself on not making it about yourself, working with other people, putting your hand across the aisle. It's essentially what Joe Manchin's done for 40 years. So do you think something actually changed in the last 30 days?
Yeah.
Or you think something happened?
Yeah, I think they made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And what does that sound like behind closed doors? What does that mean?
I mean,
is that death threats? Is that money? Is that legacy? What is it?
It could be any of those things, but he is not a stupid person.
Nope.
And, he weighed things and says, how do I end up best off?
Mm-hmm.
And he made that decision.
So you think he'll just ride off into the sunset and never look for re-election again? And you don't think because he helped pass Biden's agenda that the people of West Virginia are going to be done with him?
You have a hard time with this because you're a big fan of Manchin.
I do like Manchin.
I know. And by the way, most people
like
do. You're not in a company where you're the only guy that likes him. What he's saying is there was an offer made that he couldn't refuse. What that is, he doesn't know. I don't think anybody knows. But when a guy named Bill Gates gets involved, you're talking about a guy that's got a lot of did you see him when he was young and he was sitting there going up against the lawyer. Have you ever seen those conversations he had with the lawyer when he was younger? Have you ever seen that video or no?
Yeah, I've
of
seen
how he handled the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that whole scene where Mark Zuckerberg, where the guy plays him in Social Network? Do you know that's where the practice came from?
Really?
Watching how Gates handled it. You're not talking to a lightweight guy. You're talking about a guy that he's gotten criticism of having Asperger's, which means emotions low. You know this, and obviously he's known for having a temper, but at the same time. When a guy like Gates gets involved, he's got many creative ways of pushing things through.
Right.
He's not a lightweight. This is a very heavyweight guy that got involved.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.